Hi everyone, hope you're having an amazing day. This is FC with CappersDirect.com, here to bring you guys your first look preview for this upcoming UFC Vegas 70 event going down on February 25th. It's Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann. But before we get into that, let's get into some housekeeping things. Let's go over just really quickly what happened last Saturday. Max Fight Pick winner again. Guys, for $25, you guys can get the Max Fight Pick I think we're on like a crazy streak, like 11 and 10, literally hitting 11 out of 10 hits every single week. This one, Aaron Blanchfield, minus 105 was the Max Fight Pick winner. You guys always complain, oh, he's got minus 150s out there. He's got minus 140 sometimes. Sometimes he's got a minus 170. Yeah, but they win. And on top of it, I gave you guys the person who started the week as the underdog. Had it been on Monday, Tuesday, and you were like, you have to give a Max Fight Pick, I would have been like, all right, Aaron Blanchfield, plus 120. But, you know, we had to gather some more information. As the information came in, we were like, guys, we're going to do it. We're going to go ahead and make the Max Fight Pick. I mean, we're on this crazy run, right? Most people are like, oh, let's pick the most minus 200 safe play out there. By the way, there isn't a minus 200 safe play. There's either winners or there's losers. And what did I do? I gave you Aaron Blanchfield minus 105 as the Max Fight Pick. And I said, everything that was going to happen in the fight was in the write-up. I'm not going to go over everything because those people pay for the write-ups, and the write-ups are very important. The write-ups had additional picks in it every single time. Additional picks. Aaron Blanchfield, minus 105. She goes out there and chokes out the veteran Jessica Andrade. The veteran that only had like a week's notice, had just fought a month ago, and everyone seemed to be on. Not us. We were on the prospect. And this is the thing. It's like MMA is so different. Like, you're going to go ahead. You can't peg me. You can't peg us as a company. It's impossible. Look what happened when Sean Strickland fought Amibov. Sean Strickland came in on a day's notice, fought a month before. Who did we pick in that fight? Sean Strickland. I gave it out as a free play. What happened this time? Jessica Andrade fought a month ago. Has a week notice. Is literally considered like probably going to go into the Hall of Fame for all the things she's done, right? Well, what does the trend suggest? Suggestion is he goes ahead and picks the veteran every time. That doesn't happen. We gather information. One week we may have Josh Emmett as the Max Fight Pick, and the next week we may have Yair Rodriguez as the Max Fight Pick against Josh Emmett. That's just the way it is, right? And what happened? Yair Rodriguez smashed, got a choke submission. What happened? Aaron Blanchfield smashed, got a choke submission. No one thought it was possible. We did. We said, forget it. Max Fight Pick, done. Guys, if you're not on the Max Fight Pick, you're crazy. You're literally missing out. Every week, it's $25. Guaranteed to win, or you get the next one free. It's not like we dropped two of these in a row. And even if we did drop two in a row, that third one is going to hit. It's just, guys, we're giving you the best information. It's a play that's going to hit. I can't reiterate enough. I mean, maybe the fact is you hate money. Maybe that's the reason why you're not on the Max Fight Pick every week. I literally, even if you don't bet MMA, I put out there everything that you just need to do. You just need to put in the bet. It's one bet. It's the best bet on the card. $25. That's it. I mean, it's crazy. We won 10, 11 in a row, something like that. This could have been you the whole time. It could have been you. For $25 a week, you could have been winning. But instead you didn't. So now we're here. We're bragging about it, and you're sitting there being like, oh, I wish I had it. All right, guys. Last thing before we get into your first look preview, guys, there's a ton of you who are hitting this video and not subscribing. There's a ton of you that are hitting this video and not putting your post notifications on. One, if you guys are on this video, just subscribe. We put in all this work every single week. We're giving you free plays all the time. Hit the subscribe button. As a person that appreciates the work that we're doing, hit that subscribe button. Now, if you really like what we're doing and you're like, I need to make sure that I'm on every single thing that they put out every single day, that's when you hit the post notifications. Just put that post notification so that you get notified every time that we have something, so that it doesn't get lost in the myriad of just videos and people that you've already subscribed to, right? This channel is extraordinarily important. The things that we put out here, extraordinarily important. Go ahead and hit that post notifications on. If you like money, only if you like money. If you hate money, don't worry about it. But if you love money and you want to win and you're here to win, you better hit that post notifications button, guys. And again, there's a ton of you guys that are just coming on the video, watching, and not subscribing, not hitting the like button, guys. One thing, contract, me and you, right? You guys subscribe, you guys hit the like, I'll provide the best content that I can provide ever, all right? That's the contract. Now, UFC Vegas 70 is going down February 25th. Let's get into your first look preview for that fight card right now. All right, guys, your main event for UFC Vegas 70 is coming at you from the light heavyweight division. We have Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann. Let's look at Nikita Krylov first. I mean, both these guys are very similar in age. Nikita Krylov's going to be coming in here 6'3", about a 77-inch reach. The guy is a finisher, but he lacks fight IQ. That's one big thing that I've seen from Nikita Krylov. He wants to go out there for the kill right away, and when he goes for it in round one, he puts himself in the guard of people that are just better than he is when it comes down to submissions. People that he should be standing up with. He's been known for knocking someone out and then following them to the ground and then getting submitted. Those are the types of things that Nikita does. But in this fight, Nikita's going to want to keep the distance. But the problem with Nikita is that he always has this game plan to keep the distance and then crashes the pocket. He feels like if he can hit you, he's going to knock you out. If he can just get to you, he's going to knock you out. And he puts himself at risk to do so. So Nikita's going to be coming in here a little bit shorter in reach. And so those things are going to weigh heavily on a fighter who is as good as Nikita Krylov, because at the end of the day, when he shores up those fight IQ issues or when he comes in with a very solid game plan, Nikita Krylov is a really good fighter. But then we look at Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann, again, similar in age. Ryan Spann is going to be 6'5". He's going to have an 81-inch reach. Ryan Spann's one of these guys that he either knocks you out, gets knocked out. He either submits you or it's going to be a finish, right? He's finished 5 out of his last 7 fights. He's going to be the bigger guy. The problem with Ryan Spann is he's extraordinarily confident to the verge of being cocky. He used to come into fight week very humble, very quiet, and he almost seemed that he was scared to go out there and fight. Almost. I'm not saying that he was. He gave off that vibe. Well, he's changed a lot. And in him changing, he's changed his confidence, and it's just gotten to where he'll tell you, like, I'm going to win. No doubt. This guy has nothing for me. And it's like, it almost looks cocky, and then he wins some, he loses some. I mean, it's an odd phenomenon that's transpired. And when you watch anything with Ryan Spann, it's like, man, he's so weird sometimes. Like, he's so quiet, and it's just the way he is. But at the end of the day, he's trying to get better. The way I look at this, we have I look at it as like vet versus prospect, and I shouldn't, because both of them have really substantial records. Both of them have substantial fights. But when you look at it, Nikita Krylov has the better level of competition. That's who he's fighting. Now he's losing, and he's lost by submission. And we know Ryan Spann has a wonderful guillotine choke. I've been in it. I've literally bet Ryan Spann by choke before and hit it at plus 1,200. I literally put it for you guys one time. So I'm telling you guys, Ryan Spann is going to be in this fight. But man, when you look at it, you can sort of see why Nikita Krylov's favored. Nikita Krylov's fighting not the best of the best per se, but he's fighting the better level of competition, where Ryan Spann sort of, he'll get a tough guy, lose, then he'll get someone that's not so tough, win, and he's on this journey with himself. Is Ryan Spann going to be able to get himself up and ready to fight someone like Nikita Krylov? Somebody who's vulnerable. Nikita Krylov, while all that stuff about him, he's good, he's great. He's going to be a tiny bit smaller, but he's used to it. He goes out there, he throws bombs. While all those things are positives in Nikita Krylov's side, he also makes dumb decisions. So right now, I slightly lean Nikita Krylov, but I mean, if Ryan Spann had a better chin, if Ryan Spann just had a couple more tools in there, man, he would look really good as an underdog. But at the end of the day, this is pretty fairly matched. You have someone who I consider to be slightly better, have better tools, but has a horrible fight IQ. In other words, even though he could have all those wonderful tools, it doesn't matter if you're knocking people out and throwing your neck in the middle of a guillotine. That's not going to win you fights. You're going to end up losing. And so you look at Nikita Krylov's record, he's been submitted. Look at Ryan Spann. He can hit crazy submissions that people don't realize. People that, because he's so tall and lanky, people don't realize, like, oh yeah, he's on my, like, you think like he's on your neck, you're fine. And then all of a sudden you're like, you start seeing stars. So I think it's going to be an interesting fight. As of right now, as of today, Nikita Krylov is going to be the slight lean. But again, guys, you guys know, I mean, look last week. I was like, oh, Jessica Andrade, slight lean. Max fight pick, Aaron Blanchfield. So, like, sometimes things can change. So, things can change in this fight. But as of right now, I like Nikita Krylov. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting fight. I think it's going to be a better offering than last week. But this is gonna be a good similarly matched fight that should. I mean, I don't see it going 5 rounds, but you guys are going to tune in on Friday for that write up. Now let's get into your next fight. All right, guys. Now let's get into your co-main event coming at you from the middleweight division. We have Andre Muniz versus Brendan Allen. It's going to be a good fight. Let's look at Andre Muniz. Andre Muniz is 33 years old. He's going to have a slightly longer reach. Guys, on the ground, Andre Muniz is just it. He's a submission expert. My worry with Andre is the fact that while I have seen him level up throughout these last probably 4 years when it comes down to wrestling, he was one of these submission guys that were really good, but if they can't get it to the ground, how are they going to apply their submissions? And so he worked on it. He worked on it hard, and he got the wrestling down. The problem is, I don't necessarily know if his gas tank is there yet. He's been adding the pieces while continuing to fight. So this fight, I'm expecting to see a better wrestler, and I'm expecting to see somebody with a better gas tank. The problem is like, while road work is a big part of your gas tank, making sure that you're putting in the hours, making sure that you're putting in the cardio, that is huge. And if you have an injury, right, that stops you from being able to do some of those things, that's huge as well. Those are things you're going to want to know. But there are other things that you can't see behind the scenes that are going on. When a fighter gets there, his weigh-ins, making sure that he's on weight, making sure that he's not cutting him properly. When they're staring down each other, does the fighter feel intimidated? Will that now play into his adrenaline dump? All those things, what a fighter goes through is very important. And when you have someone like Andre Muniz, you're like, man, I worry about his gas tank issues. That does start to creep up. Now, there are a lot of things there that are like, well, even if he doesn't have gas tank issues, the guy's a submission ace. This is a guy who submitted some of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grapplers ever, right? And literally in an arm bar. No problem. He submitted him. This guy doesn't need to have a gas tank. He's going to submit Brendan Allen in the first round, right? But let's look at Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen is going to come in here a little younger. He's 27. He's going to be a little taller. He's on a 3-fight winning streak himself. He's a grappler who transitioned into striking. He went to Killcliff, which is now considered Killcliff MMA, which was a gym down there in Florida, right? Henry Hoos gym before. It's been known by multiple different names. But he was a grappler who went down there to say, look, guys, I need to learn how to strike. I need to learn how to strike like a Dutch kickboxer. I want to be the man. I want to be Jean-Claude Van Damme out there, right? So that's sort of his story. But then we sort of see Brendan Allen go out there and get taken down by people. And that's surprising. That's shocking. Easily taken down. Now, he doesn't always get held down, and he always fights out of those positions. But when a guy's getting easily taken down, you have to start to wonder what's going to happen in this fight. Now, if you look at it, I think it was like it opened up where Andre Muniz was like maybe a slight favorite, close, maybe even close to pick 'em. If you look now, Andre Muniz is a huge favorite because people see that Brendan Allen's been taken down. Brendan Allen can be controlled on the ground. He can be taken down. He's had some very ugly looks from people that aren't as good as Andre Muniz. But question is, Brendan Allen for this camp knew that. Brendan Allen's been working his takedown defense. Brendan Allen has been working strikes that he believes will be there on Andre Muniz. So it's very, very interesting when you have somebody as good as Andre Muniz come in. Once they have a certain amount of fights, you sort of know what they're going to do each and every time. If they're not leveling up, people like Brendan Allen will study and figure out ways to stifle that. We saw it when certain fighters come out and you're like, man, he gets a submission every time. And all of a sudden he'll go up against a fighter who's been taken down multiple times, but that fighter drilled nothing but takedown defense that whole entire camp. No one knows it, but he did. And he stuffs every one of that guy's takedowns. And it's like, wow, I've never seen that before. That phenomenon does happen in MMA, and that could be happening to Andre Muniz eventually. Eventually, people are going to be like, dude, you just don't go to the ground with this guy. You don't give him your arm. You don't give him your neck. You make sure you scramble, you be safe, and you make sure you hit him because Andre Muniz is hittable. And that's one area that he's not necessarily the best at. And that's one thing that Brendan Allen is going to be able to do here. So I do see value in Brendan Allen. The bookmaker saw value in Brendan Allen. They sat there and said, guy, you're minus 110, maybe a plus 100. And now look at it, skyrocketed for Andre Muniz, right? Brendan Allen does have a chance. I slightly lean Andre Muniz just because the kid is good. I know the guy. Takedown. He's working on his wrestling. He's working on his strength so that the kind of strength that he needs to pull off humongous moves. I just worry about that gas tank. That does worry me. When I'm sitting there and if I were to get Andre Muniz at minus 110, okay, let's go, right? Let's go. But Andre Muniz at like minus 200, I'm like, but he's got a gas tank issue. But you start seeing the little things that are like, oh, it's not so cute, it's not so pretty, and you start to really get in there and be like, man, Brendan Allen's got a shot. Brendan Allen can hit hard. Brendan Allen's going to be throwing more volume. Brendan Allen's going to, while he may have a gas tank issue himself, he has the game plan of stuff takedowns, hit him, never give up your arm, never give up your neck. Whatever you do, you get in those positions, just scramble and try to pull yourself out of it no matter what happens. Brendan Allen's coming in here with that mentality. Again, he's been cocky in the past too, and come in here thinking, oh yeah, I'm not going to get submitted, and he gets put in 18 different submissions. So that's not what we're getting here. Brendan Allen's coming in here knowing how dangerous Andre Muniz is, but I still favor and lean the Andre Muniz side. He's so good, guys. He's so good on the ground. He's so good with his submissions. He's so good until you're going to see that he's not. And that's going to shock a lot of people. He's going to be a favorite one time, and he's just going to lay an egg. Is this the time? I don't necessarily think so. I still lean Andre Muniz, but I see the value in Brendan Allen. I see why the odds makers put it out there the way they did. And at the end of it, all the people that jump on Andre Muniz may be extraordinarily intelligent, because Andre Muniz has that ability to go in there and make fights look stupid easy. He has the ability to go down there, take Brendan Allen down, and start his armbar sequence to where he gets it within the first minute. And you're like, oh, Andre Muniz was a minus 500. You guys didn't get to see it play out. You guys didn't get to see Andre Muniz get rocked, get hit in the second, in the third round. Those are when the value people you're able to see that value. They just normally have to hurdle or get past one hurdle before you're like, oh snap, this wasn't minus 200. This was minus 110, minus 110. We're going to split. What's going to happen? Like, or the underdog ends up uppercut and knockout. This is one of those instances that I'm worried about. But again, slightly lean Andre Muniz. But you guys are going to tune in on Friday. Now, let's get into your next fight. All right, your next fight is coming at you from the heavyweight division. We have Augusto Sakai versus Dontel Mays. Let's look at Augusto Sakai first. Guys, Augusto Sakai is coming in here with a 4-fight losing streak, all by KO. It's been bad. It's been really bad. But he's dropping down when it comes down to level of competition with this fight. When you look at those people that knocked him out, I mean, he's getting knocked out by Alistair Overeem. We know he's retired, but we know he still had power towards the end. He was getting knocked out by Jorginho Rosenstruck. Easy. I mean, he's a guy with power, right? Tai Tuivasa. We know what Tai brings to the table. And then we're looking at Sergey Spivak, which was a ground and pound finish. That's one thing about Augusto Sakai, that he came in here touted as the man at heavyweight. He's going to make a splash. And then he did some things, but then we found out guy doesn't have a great gas tank, doesn't have the best chin. Can be rocked, can be knocked out. Now let's get down to some manager talk, right? As a former sports agent, when I dealt with MMA clients and MMA fighters, Augusto Sakai has a manager who's sitting there and saying, look, my guy's on a 4-fight losing streak when it comes down to getting knocked out. What do we need to do to fix this up? Augusto, you need to not be so out there with your chin. You need to take less chances. And then you need to go out there and get someone underneath your belt that you can start to build the confidence, because Augusto confidence is a good fighter. He lands big. The issue again is like he just puts himself out there. It's not necessarily that he lands one to take one. It's that his defense just isn't there. He'll land big, but he doesn't bring his hands up. He leaves his chin out there when he lands. He throws humongous. And his thought is like, I'm just going to hit you, and you're not going to hit me, and you're going to go out. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes he gets hit back. And Augusto Sakai is one of these fighters that I always say it's like Street Fighter. If you guys have ever played Street Fighter or any kind of fighting game ever when you were a kid, it's like when you get hit, your meter goes down a little bit. Your health meter it just continuously just gets hit until you eventually get KO'd, right? Augusto Sakai is that guy. There's some people out there that just get hit, and it's like, all right, I got hit. I'm gonna give you one. It's the way it is. Augusto Sakai gets hit, and that meter just knocks down. And he's also swinging. Meter knocks down, and it's just getting knocked down to the point where if you have someone that's gonna come in here and try to wrestle him, if you have someone in here that's gonna try to shoot a volume game to where he's gonna have to throw big and he's gonna be missing, you're gonna end up getting a tired Augusto Sakai. That's why the manager is trying to say, Augusto, look, we're going to work on your cardio, and we're going to get you a fighter who you're going to win against, because we need to build your confidence back up so that we can make this money, we can make this bread, and we can continue to try to do something in the UFC at least. Now let's look at Dontel Mays. Dontel Mays is coming in here 6'6". He's the longer fighter. He wants to stay long. He knows Augusto Sakai has power. Dontel Mays doesn't care. He also believes he has power, so he wants to stay long. And Dontel Mays does have in his game plan to eventually try to go for a takedown if it's there. Guys, that's going to wear on the gas tank of Augusto Sakai. That's going to end up killing it. But when you look at Dontel Mays, who's Dontel Mays been fighting? Dontel Mays has been fighting Josh Parisian. We saw him last week not do well. He's been Rocky Martinez. I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore. Losing to Nascimento. And then losing to a 4-0 Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane, legit. That was legit, except he lost by a heel hook from Ciryl Gane, who is a kickboxer. And Ciryl Gane that was 4-0 at the time, not the Ciryl Gane that we have today that has all this experience. So, something to note, but still, you look at the level of competition, it's night and day. Augusto Sakai is fighting these great fighters, these knockout artists, the people that he's either going to knock out or get knocked out by. So the 4-fight losing streak does seem to make sense. And then you look at Dontel Mays. I mean, he just went to a split decision with a really great wrestler, by the way. And I don't fault Dontel Mays at all for that. There's some people that will. I will not. I think that was a really tough fight. And yeah, the guy I think he ended up popping for something. So ended up being on top of it. So needless to say, looking at Dontel Mays, if he can go out there, get the takedowns, wear on Sakai, he's going to win this fight, because Sakai's just not that guy. Not the guy that can come out here and do the cardio work, come out here and swing big and land big. But Dontel Mays, I've also seen in his career where he's been hit, and then there's something, it's like, oh no, I don't want to be here anymore. There's a button in there sometimes that gets pressed. And so you have to be weird. You have to be careful. You can't be putting huge money on someone like Dontel Mays. And honestly, when I first saw this, I thought Augusto Sakai had the tools and had the right game plan and had everything to win this fight. But when you dig further deep and you're like, man, I mean, he's a gasser. You gas Augusto Sakai, you win. You can take him down, you can ground and pound, you can finish him. And then you look at Dontel Mays. Dontel Mays is probably going to look for a takedown here. If it's open, but it's probably going to be open. It's probably going to happen. Guys, at that point, you have to sort of favor Dontel Mays. But how can I favor Dontel Mays when I know all the bad things about him? And I came in here favoring Augusto Sakai, right? As of today, if you're asking me today, I think Dontel Mays has value here. I want to get further into it. I want to see if he's just going to shoot for takedowns, if he has the right mentality going in, or if he's coming in here cocky. If he's coming in here cocky, then at that point, it's a 50-50 fight. Whoever hits first probably is going to end up winning this thing. Or whoever ends up hitting first is probably going to make the other one think about things, and then the accumulation is probably going to come thereafter, and you're going to see a finish. Sometimes that can happen. But in this fight, I see the value in Dontel Mays, and I sort of favor Dontel Mays slightly. Don't tell anyone. Okay? All right. Let's get into your next fight. All right, guys, let's get into your next fight. Your next fight is coming at you from the women's flyweight division. We're not going to spend much time on this, guys, because I have the return of my friend Tatiana Suarez is back, 8-0, baby. She is a flyweight, 5-5. She's 5'5". I mean, see, I'm so excited about Tatiana. Good friend. She's been almost off for 4 years, guys. Off for 4 years. That is big. But Tatiana Suarez, I mean, it was a lot of injuries. A lot of things were happening there. She's a fighter, man. This girl's story is inspirational. She's just a really great fighter, and she's doing this properly. She's trying to come back properly. She's not rushed. She didn't rush back. She's coming in here, and she was in line to be champion. It was inevitably going to happen in her weight class, right? Here, she's gonna fight at flyweight. She's already 8-0. She knows her bread and butter. She's probably the best wrestler in MMA. She's going to take people down constantly. We're talking about, look, she's 8-0, right? Look at her wins. Amanda Cooper, understandable. Let's get into it. Alexa Grasso, that was a rear naked submission, a rear naked choke. That's crazy on Alexa Grasso. Looking at Carla Esparza, TKO, ground and pound. She was taking Carla Esparza and ragdolling her around. And then we saw Nina Nunes go to a unanimous decision. And in that fight, we saw her get extended. We saw her get a little bit tired. And Nina's just a tough girl. But she has across from her Montana De La Rosa, another tough girl. She's going to be taller. She's going to be longer. Montana's a little, she's decent. She's decent on the ground. She's a decent grappler. She's a decent wrestler of herself. When she goes out there and tries to get takedowns, she normally gets them. She can wrap her hands around, picks people up, and drops them. The problem is she can also be taken down. Now we know what Tatiana Suarez is going to do. Tatiana Suarez is coming in here as a minus 800, guys. The question is whether or not you're going to trust Tatiana Suarez to get it done within the distance. Is what it seems like to me. You can look at Montana De La Rosa and say, does she have a chance? She does have a chance. I mean, if you're looking at Montana De La Rosa, what are you looking at? You're trying to get the best Montana De La Rosa possible, right? What does that look like? What does the best Montana De La Rosa look like in pass? All right, her nose still bleeds when you touch it. When you flick it, her nose bleeds. The aesthetics in there are really bad on her part because she looks like she takes way more damage than she does. So we can pretty much expect her nose to be trickling as soon probably in round 1, right? On top of that, she has been taken down in the past. Even at her best, she was taken down, right? Now, granted, she did take down the other person more and did do work, but when you're looking at it, she can be taken down. Tatiana Suarez is going to be taken down. You have to be hoping, if you're on the Montana De La Rosa side, that Tatiana Suarez is coming in here unprepared, not ready, coming in here after almost a 4-year layoff and is ready to lay an egg. I just don't see it happening, guys. I see Tatiana Suarez working. She's done it properly. She's done it slowly. And while I do expect there to be some kind of rust there, and I do expect there to be some kind of a possibility of a gas tank issue, man, Tatiana Suarez is the kind of girl that can get this done in round 1, can get on Montana De La Rosa's back before she knows it. Will make sure to get Montana down and lay on top of her, try to wear her out. Montana's a tough girl. I don't expect her to give up easily. I don't expect her to just to lay down in round 1 and just try to be done with it. But in the end, guys, this is, to me, Tatiana Suarez all day. And on Friday, you're going to want to know if Tatiana Suarez is going to do it inside the distance or not. I'm going to make sure I give you guys the best information on Friday. You're going to want to tune in. I promise you're going to want to tune in to see what's going to happen with this fight. All right? Now, let's get into your next fight. All right, so let's get into your next fight. Your next fight is coming at you from the welterweight division. We have Mike Malott versus Lioness. Let's look at the Mike Malott side. Mike Malott is 8-1, 73-inch reach. He's going to be at a little bit of a slight reach disadvantage, but in the end, like, Mike Malott is a pretty well-rounded MMA fighter. He hasn't fought a lot. He hasn't necessarily, he takes a lot of breaks between fights. He was a coach up there at Team Alpha Male for a very long time, and so he has other duties. So, but at the end, he's training constantly, and in the gym, you see the tape on this guy. You're like, who's that? Oh, that's the coach. Like, that guy, he's good. And you look and you're like, dang, the kid's good. The kid is decent. Problem is like, you just don't necessarily know what to expect because everything you're seeing from the gym is like great stuff. But when a fighter's not fighting out there on the main stage all the time, you can't really determine whether or not all that stuff you're seeing in the gym is going to translate into the cage. Now, the fight that we did see against Mickey Gall, he did pretty well, but he got rocked. He got hit a lot. He gets hit a ton. And he ended up knocking out Mickey Gall, fighting through some stuff. That's what he does. He'll fight through some stuff. He's got crazy leg locks. I see him hitting crazy submissions. He's just a well-rounded MMA fighter who doesn't necessarily fight all the time, has a pretty good chin, but can get hit himself. Now, looking at Johan Lioness, he's 9-1, 76-inch reach. All right, Lioness is the kind of guy who got known and was discovered because he was a monster. He just came out round 1 and didn't care. I mean, he came out like remember that guy from Mortal Kombat that had like 6 arms and that's how he came out. That's how Lioness just came out, just swinging. And then we saw Lioness say, hey, man, like, I got knocked out. And that was not cool. So I'm going to take my time, and brought one of the most boring fights ever from a guy who you thought was just going to go out there and kill the other person. He's just out there, like, just doing his thing, trying to like learn how to pace himself. If you're going to get the Lioness who's going to be a monster again, he's got a really good shot to hit Mike Malott first. Now, is Mike Malott, I've said he had a good chin. He's taken a shot before and wore it well, but I've also seen him take a shot and then just blink a couple times and then just start swinging big. Again, someone like Lioness, I do think Lioness has the ability to put Mike Malott out if he comes out here and fights the way he used to fight, the way he was known for fighting, the way Dana White loved him to fight. Now, Lioness is coming in here saying, look, I have a game plan and I'm well-rounded. I can wrestle, I'm big, I'm strong, I can hit hard. Question is like, he doesn't have the gas tank for that. Unlike before, we were talking about a fighter who was working on their gas tank and getting it to the point to where they're like working through the gas tank issues. And they probably on the other side of it of like, hey, I probably have a pretty decent gas tank. If not, I've topped it up. Like, this is what I got. I think Lioness is one of those people, he doesn't necessarily know. He's still trying. He's still finding out. He's 9-1. He doesn't have the craziest record. And he's trying to figure out if right now his gas tank is going, if all the things that he's doing in camp are going to boost his gas tank to be perfect, or does he need to do more? He may come out of here and gas in round 1 because he's trying things, he's doing things, he's putting together more road work, different kind of training in order to figure out how to extend his gas tank and do the things that he wants to do, whether it be grappling or striking big early and still have the gas to potentially take it down to wrestling later. So we have a guy who's learning versus a guy who is considered a head coach at a place, a really great place, is considered a gym rat, considered a guy who's the guy at the gym. I mean, at the end of the day, I can see why Mike Malott is favored, because he does have the people talking about him, people saying how great he is, and he has shown that he can take a hit and he can hit hard and he can choke you out, well-rounded. But when you have someone like Lioness, it comes down to his game plan. Is Lioness going to come out here and do the necessary things that he used to do? Because if that's the case, underdog has a chance. Underdog has a chance to win inside the distance. I still think the value is on Lioness here as standing here today. That's what I think. I think right now Lioness has the value. I think he has the potential to come out here as long as he does what he needs to do. Now, this week I'm going to find out what his game plan is. What's going on with Lioness? What's going on in his head? Is he ready to come out here and show the old Lioness, or is he coming out here or showing the new Johan? Johan Lioness, the guy who's going to come out here and pace himself and try to wrestle and try to grapple, maybe hit you with a couple of big shots and try to stay away from danger. If that's the guy, maybe Mike Malott's going to come out here and really look like a minus 200 or whatever he is now. But as of right now, I see Lioness has the potential to get back to himself, get back to that old self, and probably come out here and put on a really great show and either get a knockout or get really, really close before something bad happens. But I think this is his best chance to win. I know there are a couple people that are saying, hey, he can win by a decision by taking Mike Malott down. I've seen Mike Malott on the ground. Guys, he's super tricky. We're talking about leg locks. We're talking about these chokes that he's going to be able to hit. I mean, maybe the decision is possible, but I just wouldn't play with it when you have the ability to just go out there and strike the way Lioness does. But that's how I'm feeling right now. On Friday, you're going to want to tune in to see exactly how we're going to bet this fight. But let's get into your next fight. All right, guys, so let's get into your last fight. Your last fight for UFC Vegas 70 is coming at you from the lightweight division. We have Eric, the Ghost Pepper, Gonzalez versus Trevor Peek. Let's look at the Eric Gonzalez side. The guy's 14-7, 5'11", 75-inch reach. He's known as the Ghost Pepper. He's a striker and does well on the feet. Now, he has been knocked out twice. Once by Jim Miller. And, well, he didn't get knocked out the second time. He ended up getting submitted by Terrence McKinney, which that's a separate thing. But when looking at the Eric Gonzalez side, I think a lot of people are looking at this fighter as like, hey, he's got no chin. Much like Jordan Wright last week, where it's like he has no chin. And Jordan Wright did get hurt a couple times, ended up losing the fight. But he made it all the way to the end, right? Eric Gonzalez, I don't necessarily know if he's a fighter who is horribly chinny. He goes out there and does strike big. He hurt Jim Miller on the feet before Jim Miller eventually knocked him out. He's been knocked out in the past. He's been hurt a lot in the past. But I think he's one of these fighters that could surprise people by having a slightly better chin. He's just getting hit by some of these crazy whirlwind of shots. And then comes in Trevor Peek. Trevor Peek is 7-0. The guy is from Alabama. He's crazy. Like, he's nuts. He's going to be 5'9", shorter. He's going to be smaller. He's one of these guys that are like, hey, man, you want to fight? Yeah. and then he fights. That's what he is. Like, the guy's a wild fighter. He's going to come out there swinging, and the guy has cardio. He goes out there. He's not defensively sound. That's one thing that they're working on with him, but he goes out there, gets hit, likes to hit, hits big, hits bombs. And so you look at the Trevor Peek side, you look at the Eric Gonzalez side, right? If you're the UFC, what are you trying to do here? Trevor Peek has potential to be great, really great, if he can just figure out the defensive things and kind of sharpen things up, get a little more technical. But he's a fighter through and through. The UFC likes these guys. And then you have Eric Gonzalez, who's been knocked out by Jim Miller, who's been submitted by Terrence McKinney, who's not necessarily the prospect that everyone was expecting, really. I mean, I was expecting him to lose both those fights. And I bet both those fights. I bet Jim Miller by knockout, and I bet Terrence McKinney by submission. But most people are looking at Eric Gonzalez and being like, yeah, this is going to be a squash fest. And looking at the line, I mean, Trevor Peek is favored, even though he's only 7-0. That's something of note. Why is he favored this heavily if he's only 7-0? It's because the guy's a crazy person. The guy's a wild man. Then you have someone like Eric Gonzalez, so that has been knocked out before. So in the end, I don't necessarily believe that Eric Gonzalez is the most chinny fighter ever. Is going to be the fighter that can't make it past the first shot. He's going to get knocked out in the first blow. I don't believe that. But, man, the UFC sort of set him up to fall in line with that, to fall in line with someone who's going to get hit and possibly put out, because Trevor Peek is that guy. He's the guy the UFC is looking at. In the end, you don't know what's going to happen with Trevor Peek. Trevor Peek, again, is going to be smaller. He's going to have a 5-inch reach disadvantage. But the thing that Trevor Peek has in here is that he has the gas to hit this game plan, to hit this style that he has currently. He has the gas tank, he has the chin, he has the power, and he has the right mindset, the right confidence behind him. The issue is he going to come out here and have an adrenaline dump? Last time he came out into the same cage, he didn't have an adrenaline dump. He did really well, but he did get touched up. He did get hit a lot and weathered a lot before he ended up putting it on a guy in round 2, right? Guys, as of right now, I favor Trevor Peek, but I'm not one just to write off Eric Gonzalez like everyone else is. I'm not one to just write off the fact that Trevor Peek is coming in here with his first real fight under the big lights. Like, there's going to be people there and cheering him on and so forth. And even though he's fought in this sort of area again, it's going to be different because he knows that it's going to be on broadcast on a wider scale, right? On ESPN Plus, and it's just going to be it's a bigger event. So I'm not trying to sit there and say Trevor Peek is going to come out here and just dominate and kill it because that's who he is, because adrenaline dumps happen. Big, bright lights do shock even the most seasoned veteran. So I need to figure out his mindset coming in here, what's going on with Trevor Peek, what's going to be his game plan, and I want to sort of see where Eric Gonzalez is. Does Eric Gonzalez have that confidence to sit there and say, I'm not going to get knocked out. In fact, I'm going to knock him out. Or is he sitting there sort of questioning and be like, well, I might get knocked out, I might not. That's going to be important for me to know on Eric Gonzalez. But as of right now, I do favor Trevor Peek, and you guys are going to want to tune in to that write-up that's going to happen on Friday to let you guys know exactly how to bet this fight, what to do, and who is going to win by what. Okay? So tune in on Friday to that write-up. All right, guys, there it is, your main card first look for UFC Vegas 70 going down February 25th, this Saturday, guys. You guys are going to tune into that write-up. I'm telling you guys right now, get that write-up. Now, if you like this kind of content, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment down below Max, because of the Max Fight Pick run we're on currently. If you guys aren't on the Max Fight Pick, I'm telling you guys, you're missing out. $25. You must hate to win. You must either hate money or hate to win. I don't know what it is, unless you're on it, right? Unless you're on it. But Saturday, February 25th, it's going to be a great day to win, baby. Let's get it. Again.